Good day, everyone. On behalf of the Free Life Organization, we would like to present to you our project proposal, namely Mitigation and Support of Domestic Workers dash Domestic Servitude. This is an operation and running in the next 2 years templates. The contents of our proposal would be the overview, the organization of information, establish the need, satisfy the need, and visualize the future. To start with the overview, may I call on Mr. J.B. Caranay.
A free life. Free Life requests an initiation budget plan for an organization focusing on abuse mitigation and victim support systems for overseas Filipino workers, or what we call the OFWs, specifically in Saudi Arabia. The proposed organization will provide help and integration programs for OFWs to be brought back into their host society to prevent circumstances of distress and further flourish nation relations amongst the Philippines and the Middle East. Training of all sectors such as technological, bookkeeping, mitigating teams, and supportive associations will include basic clerical skills, screening and interview strategies, background checking techniques, victims care, and many more. So the mission of the project of our team is that to bring advanced care, preparation, and a safe environment to OFWs in the Middle East, allowing us to prepare for circumstances of crisis, bringing our citizens home before mental and physical consequences can take place. We hope to support those that have already met issues of underpaid wages, battering and abuse, dire environmental conditions, unjustified arrest, and death row, and any individual who could not return to the Philippines safely. We will meet the needs of each individual working hand in hand with support groups, victim services, and other prevention operations, such as the nurses, ambassadors, agencies, and etc. While the vision of our team is that to maintain the safety of our Filipino citizens working as OFWs in Saudi Arabia, while planning for with their host countries to pass legislation advocating safer work environments and implementing protocols that meet the standard of human rights laws. We hope to see a higher number of OFWs worldwide, well-informed, at ease, and confident that there are agencies looking after their well-being. This program is a three-pronged collaborative solution encompassing the entire duration of a domestic worker's employment.
All right, let me give you some background information about Saudi Arabia, specifically the formation date, slavery, and religion. So let's start with its history. Saudi Arabia extends across most of northern and central Arabian Peninsula. Along the Red Sea is Hejaz, the cradle of Islam. Najd was populated by nomadic tribes. The Persian Gulf sustained an abundant oil field since 1960 that made Saudi wealthy with petroleum. The oil was discovered last March 3, 1938. Religion, tribalism, untold wealth fuel this country's history. The name of the country is after the Saud family, or Nanja tribe, which had enormous power in 20th century. Countries of deep religious conservatism meets ubiquitous tribalism. This makes outsides have a hard time adjusting culturally. In 1990 to 1991, during the Persian Gulf War, civil discontent occurred. Many Saudi people disagreed with connections of the U.S. The U.S. were in Saudi until 2005. During the mid-20th century, the traditional lifestyle was forced and embraced by the people, and has changed little since annual events have let outside contracts in. But the outside world has continued to expand while they remain to stagnate in transport, technology, and organization. Also, oil has changed the way they once were in an economic sense. However, aspects of education, social sensitivity, religious beliefs, and political roots have mostly stagnated. Now they can't seem to change their ways. Saudi was a country of small cities and towns urbanized with traditional centers becoming vastly urban. Conflicts amongst specific areas remain, causing a modern civil war to break amongst its citizens. Next slide. Slavery used to exist throughout history in a similar form to American plantation labor's slave revolts ended this era of time. Statistics shows in the time of 20th century 12 to 15 million slaves were indicated in Saudi, thus showing they are highly adapted to this governing style of society. Many slaves were imported apart from their own country, lasted much longer than the Atlantic and European slave trade. Females are highly chosen to be slaves, much for the use of personnel and skills working amongst their daily lives. Older sponsors of domestic workers are viewed to have a similar likeness to thought on how to select their slave through a sponsorship consultant. In 2003, one of the highest religious authorities spoke out claiming that slavery is part of Islam. That is the older mentality that still exists today, believing in traditional value, while the newer generation are parting away from the older styles and locations where traditions are held. According to the U.S. State Department in 2005, Saudi has a high destination for men and women. Females are aging from 15 to 45 to be trafficked for labor, trafficking, begging, sex appeal. Many fall under categories of involuntary servitude, physical or sexual abuse, non-payment, delayed payment, withholding of documents, restrictions of freedom, non-consent contract alterations. Next slide. For religion, 93% of people in Saudi Arabia are Muslim. It is expected to jump up to 51% more Muslims in the country due to expansion and innovation methods between 2015 to 2050. Here are some facts about their people. Majority of Muslims in their country is young. Their ages ranges from the under age 30 is 56%, 30 and up 44% since 2015. Next slide. For the main economy, Riyal is the currency in Saudi. Their economy boomed during 1970. They initially had huge capital invested into a more modern state. Less than 2% of the total land is used for crops. The majority of financial costs go into domestic products. Ranks first internationally with oil reserves. During the 1950s, Aramco put into operations the Trans-Arabian Pipeline. They later invested with higher transports of oil and mass selling. Other deposits include gold, silver, copper, zinc, lead, iron, titanium, pyrite, magnesite, and more. Their role is to issue regulations, currency, the real, and stabilization of national currency, wherein the government acts as a bank. Next slide. OFWs. More OFWs are expected to join Saudi as they wait for employment documents. Since 2019, records of 12 million overseas Filipino all over the world, and the numbers yearly is keep growing. Filipino survey states that since 2011, 24 to 29 years old is 24% of total females, while 30 to 34 age group is 23%. In 2020 alone, during the pandemic, 88 domestic workers from Saudi were flown back home to the Philippines. States, states by the Department of Labor and Employment. However, due to facts coming in, off record, the government asked Philippines to fly home 300 bodies in total. In 2020, more than 800,000 OFWs are migrating to Saudi. This is making it the number one destination for Filipinos. There are 800 to 900 jobs daily are provided for Saudi Filipinos. And there are 6,000 Filipinos are to be hired as doctors, nurses between 2009 to 2011 alone. 23,000 displaced domestic workers want to return home, which is that is cited from the Overseas Labor Office in 2020. The majority are no work, no pay contract, undocumented or runaways. Next slide. Since 2013, according to The Guardian, more than 500,000 foreign-born domestic workers are in Saudi. Some agencies that handle the paperwork will falsify dates of birth to allow easier access into countries. 14% of domestic workers have increased since 2019, nearing 4 million now. 3.69 million last 3 months of 2019, 3.22 million 3 months before that, increasing in total by 465,000 workers. Maid and housekeeping workers are ranked the second largest share amongst the 9 types of domestic workers.
Abuse and issues that our co-Filipinos are facing on Saudi Arabia. First, misinformation and cases. Fake receipts to OFWs. It is stated that 1.2 billion unremitted OFW premiums. Hiring agency instructs its local officers not to remit to PhilHealth. For all women, the women have no rights to complain often to embassies or authorities. Abuse and issues cases regarding Rajula versus Jeddah in the years of 1998 to 2000, Dammam 2001 to 2003, Medina 1998 to 2003. Rape and violence. 70% of domestic workers suffer physical and psychological violence, according to Asian News in 2012. As of now, the Philippine government can only defend the rights of workers, but not prevent the issue, which is the rape. Those unskilled workers have no guarantee of actual employment, wages, or protection. And also, Christians are persecuted in this country, and that is one of the violence that the Filipinos are encountering in Saudi Arabia. Rape. Rape is a huge issue, although the majority can't sue or speak out because documents are seized by employers or by their employee sponsors. Rape and violence cases. A girl named Lorraine and Fatima. So rape and violence cases, we have a girl named Lorraine and Fatima. So here's the story of a girl named Lorraine at the age of 27, a Filipina who traveled to Saudi Arabia in 2010. She worked for a family of Jeddah. Violence began just a day after arriving from the airport, wherein her boss tried to touch her as she got off the airplane. In less than 9 months, Lorraine was raped 5 times. She worked 20 hours a day without a break. Wife and husband insulted and beat her because she couldn't understand Arabic. So how pitiful is she? Her lunch was bread and leftovers from the household plates. And sadly, the updated version since 2010 has stipulated that she was able to call the authorities and get them involved in the said violence. She's still being investigated to this day and has to stay in Saudi until her case is closed. Next is the story of Fatima, which is a 26-year-old Filipina from Mindanao. She went to Saudi Arabia in the year 2003 on contract. Manpower agency stated monthly salary should be 280 US dollars. She was to be responsible for maintaining the house. So basically, she applied on being a housemaid in Saudi Arabia. Work began at 5:30 in the morning and ends at 6:30 in the evening. She was then allowed a break but to work until 9 again in the evening. She was fed one meal a day, not allowed to leave the house. The passport was taken away at the airport. She wasn't allowed to talk to family. 3 acts of sexual violence and beating on her daily was recorded also. She was threatened by a knife if she told his wife. So in here, to tell the violence or case to the wife of her boss. Then one day she escaped after a beating. One taxi driver helped her go back home as she had to become hospitalized due to injuries. So that's the two cases that we discover upon tackling this domestic servitude in Saudi Arabia. Next, not paid properly. So here, work minimum of 12 hours a day, inadequate food, denial of vacation or time off, cannot contact anyone other than the family members, no personal privacy and security, and also upon leaving, more than 80% are unable to live with wages full.
Isolated and trapped. Women are often locked and confined in living headquarters and can only live with their household. If a woman can live, they are often raped when they are alone. Domestic workers are forced to escape due to conditions resulting in harm or death, having to jump from buildings or climb out windows. Doors that only lock from the outside. Rooms without windows, no communication to their home or outside, and documents are taken away upon arrival. They cannot speak their language. In Jeddah, King Fahd General Hospital is reported that in 2002 alone, 2 out of 3 women are admitted due to foreign workers being admitted due to serious fractures or suicide attempts. 80% of women are in the orthopedics department. 150 domestic workers per month flee and they try to find safe housing for migrant women or leave the country altogether if they have papers. If salary payment is taken care of, the numbers of fleeing will go down at 50 or 60%.
Jailed and death row. Women who speak up and women who were put in prison by their employers don't have a backing from their own country as they are often not whole. Next slide, I guess. Hard culture interrogation or distress, not able to speak their home tongue or their mother tongue or, or to others in the same ethnicity. Do not speak the local language. Legal abortions are not condoned, can be put to death, even if you were raped. In 2003, a law was passed to starting no pregnant woman can be admitted unless a man is with them. Especially designated rooms are designed in a case they escape. These are the only of emergencies.
So in this slide, statistics of age group of domestic workers, we have here figure 3 distribution of OFWs by age group and sex, which is conducted in the year 2017. On the side, we have here in percent, and on the lower level is the age group. So we can see the highest is ages 25 to 29, which is around 25 to 26%, and the lowest is 15 to 24, which is 5%. That's next. So here in this next table, we can see here the rate cases and categories, which was conducted in the year 2004 to 2011. So we can see here that the orange comprises of 49% is the highest, which is the RA 9262. Next is the green, which comprises of 23.5%, which is the physical injuries, and so forth. So here, the lowest is 0.3. So next is types of OFW's job in Saudi Arabia. So here we can see that for the purple, it has 37.1%, which comprises of elementary occupations. And we can see that the lowest is the 0.2%, which is the skilled agriculture, forestry, and fishery workers. Next. Regional statistics on where OFWs are. So here we can see here that majority of the OFWs are in the Middle East. Then the minority are located to Oceania and some part of Africa. So here in this table, we can see the distress causes for OFW, which we have here the maltreatment and verbal abuse, overwork, sexual harassment and rape, contract substitution, court or police cases, unpaid salary, personal health problems and others, and the mother-child repatriation. While here on this next slide, we can see here the percentage of OFW in Saudi Arabia.
For our rationale, we have three phases, which is prevention, support, and resolution. So with prevention, we plan on utilizing this stage to encourage the complete stop of situations, maltreatment, misinformation, and abuse from arising. Raising awareness with our campaigns and projects, allowing communications between government, foliating existing business to provide support while working in cooperation with agencies and ambassadors. So with prevention, this stage is crucial to providing safety to domestic workers to assure them their rights will not be violated and that they will have freedom and knowledge of circumstances. Next phase is support, which is where we will assist financially, mentally, and physically the domestic workers in dealing with their circumstances that have forbidden them from allowing growth, adaptation to a new normal, and personal upkeeping. We will be continuously advancing in plan implementations, organizing, training, exercising evaluations, and taking corrective actions. We will be providing proper outreach programs to help deal with circumstances that have befallen the domestic workers. Examples of this include support groups, counseling, psychological evaluations, basic need association, and etc. The last phase is resolution, the continuation of the above applications to continue to restore domestic worker spectrums, provide efficient planning. So the outcome will provide an implementation of more categories, allowing the father to help with the evaluation system, providing more of a company name for the well-being of helping others. Next slide, please. So with the logistics, the capital setup cost and marketing will be the biggest expense setup. This includes clerkship and consultation services. The hardest part will be about foreign relations and immigration policies, And the biggest hurdle is adjusting our services and resolutions to align with Saudi Arabia's foreign policies and social economic laws. So our monthly budget is estimated at 2,500 Saudi Arabian riyals, which is converted to 32,000 Philippine pesos per location. Next, to establish a place, we will be working closely with local businesses to provide building rentals and properties, providing that a contract is written up for installments, ownership, and leasing requirements. So next is initial focus. Our initial focus will be at two locations with large Filipino communities per square feet, which is in Al Khobar and Jeddah. And the headquarters will be in the most developed city, which is in Riyadh. Around 25,000 to 50,000 square feet is required to implement headquarters and resources. We wanted to stress that one headquarters and two branch offices are necessary for citizens to communicate and travel, and to ensure better quality and management. So, if not everything goes according to plan, we have alternatives, which is to create office space from subsectioning or addendum to existing Philippine consulates and embassies. The building will only provide parking to access customers or those affiliated with the company, which are workers, domestic workers, and legal counsel. Next.
So for the people, we have the prevention phase, which is the agents, business owners, notary republics, security guards, ambassadors, investors, and investigators. First is agents. They will work closely with the OFWs and the agencies attending to the migration status while setting up sponsors. They will also work together to communicate with the Philippine Embassy on statistics, finances, and legalities in their jurisdiction at work. The informing an OFW's job while catering to meet the requirements of Philippines governing. They provide the paperwork for their sponsors, working together to keep everyone safe. We will pay them on a salary basis of 1,000 PHP bi-weekly or according to specific contracts with the Philippine office. For the business owners, once relations are established and we can work in unison with the four categories of owners, house employees, house OFWs, established business rentals, and provide necessary food, a cook. We will continue partnership to ensure staff, OFWs, and legal workers are to provide for on-site. And the possibility of night shifts for incoming outgoing calls in contracts, we will stipulate a sum of earnings that will be shared monthly as a payment plan. The responsibilities of said owners will responsible for providing rental space. We can work out of housing such as business rentals or building ownership. Next is providing food and beverages such as catering companies, local business. And third is providing proper paperwork to complete the space legally while conducting a government approved business. All business partnerships must provide. Next is communicating in cooperation with the head of plans and executive on contract and in agreement. And next is providing business tax of their own, renewing their license as per contract, and providing maintenance upon their building structure. And for notary publics, will assist the legalizing documents of all categories. Working in partnership with Saudi Arabia, they will provide their notary. We will pay them on a per document salary, allowing 500 minimums and 1,000 and upwards per month. For security guards, stipulated in contract will address the needs of safety amongst OFWs, workers, and staff for each country. We will conduct orderly as based on governance demands, allowing the protection and satisfy of anyhow at harm providing support and assisting keeping a friendly disposition and eye in public and follow orders. They must be open to speaking another language other than native tongue of the Philippines, such as Arabic school will be provided with job site training. Their scheduling will change weekly, varying on the amount of staff per post in office. Salary-based position that offers on-site perks. It's a free meal and drink on ships. For ambassadors, for any disclaimers, verification, and communication with the opposing country, they will step in to become a figurehead of the Philippines, allowing us to relay information accurately and efficiently to the government, allowing us to work in harmonious partnership with one another. Their salary while participating is to be included in their current salary of the government. And for the investors, for this project, we plan to provide the proposal to other working agencies, companies to co-fund the needs of OFWs by learning of the issues and changes that are to be implemented when approved. And lastly, for the investigators, to provide assistance programs in coordinating to find lost OFWs, the ones that are applied to death row, allowing us to notify the family, government, and country of our findings. They will be paid as a set salary of ours only when a case is submitted. For the support base, we have the nursing care aid and the victim services and the bookkeepers. For nursing and care aid, to provide services for staff, mainly contributing to battered abuse OFWs, allowing proper assessment and care with input-output worksheets. They will provide proper documentation, medication, and work together with the victim services. There will be three staff on at all times at the post, allowing proper treatment, full day and night shifts, and accumulation of skill. Salary will vary on the duration of shifts and intensity of treatments provided. For the victim services, we will work hand in hand with nursing sectors and support-based businesses such as counseling, medical professionals, family planning, health aid, housing, and authority, and so on. We will meet the needs of the OFW and what they need in terms of support. If they are unable to provide, they will refer them to someone who can, along with following ups to put into documentation. The salary will be case to case. And lastly, for the bookkeepers, they will provide organization, documentation, and records from past and present, allowing everything to be easily accessed. Past access, they will provide specific details to specific sectors as we require the information. They will have a bi-weekly salary, one bookkeeper during the day and the other at night. It's per location. And for the resolution phase, for managers, corporation managers, first is the managers. We will provide information to hire while delegating tasks and running operations at each base. Each will have a daily income that will be paid bi-weekly. There will be four managers running the sectors of. First is the technology, everything software while communicating with bookkeeping. Second is the basic management, keeping facilities organized and clean, hiring, firing, providing work schedules, overseeing the day with basic staff members. Third is household, cooking, and rentals, overseeing these sectors. Lastly is the OFW staff management, ensuring the staff members who work directly with OFW are organized, follow job descriptions, and coordinating with corporate management. And last is for corporate manager, oversees all sectors, specifically all the areas of management while responding, evaluating, and delegating, will provide any information required of the head organization and embassy. The starting salary will be 1,000 PHP an hour. And for the timetable, we have the funding phase, research phase, marketing phase, and state phase. Funding phase, we will use this as a way to gain clients, advertise, provide long-term costs while applying things to the community for their contributions. The following will provide the initial source of capital. First is the sponsorship, to provide capital and provide marketing to become more innovative. Second is the charity. It will hold banquets, charities causing to raise awareness to our company, to the charity working together in partnership. And partnerships will provide potential investments, capital, promote sustainability, lessen actual startup costs. And for the donations, we provide the financial means for a long and cost community services. For the research phase, understanding the historical, cultural, immigration, foreign policies between the two countries. Screening phase of higher agencies and immigration officers who handled OFW procedures, representative sponsor. Using agencies, country ambassadors, and lawyers to meet the required needs of the countries, we will provide efficient staff that handles sensitive cases, allowing us to ensure trust, safety among staff, domestic workers, government officials, and one another. Marketing phase to provide awareness that our company is trying to raise while ensuring domestic workers and staff member positions are noticed, allowing them to reach out so we can provide services and safety. Promotion, we have the awareness for those searching for help in Saudi Arabia, those needing support system and financial help, the availability of all services to the public, and co-relationship with Saudi Arabia. For the advertising, the support services we offer, and our company's branding. And last, for the estate phase, finding hot zones will be implementation for office space, logistics relating to OFW immigration numbers. Actualization phase, putting everything together. That's all.
The immediate impact of this project is less violence. Domestic workers will go work abroad with the safety, recognition, and stability of their sponsor without fear or psychological issues. Governments will implement strategies to help those in need while communicating more efficiently with one another, raising awareness of laws and regulations in each country. The impact would also have safer citizens, families will continue in contact with one another without worry, sadness, and fear. Local citizens can use our resources, even if not applicable to being a domestic worker, and the government can provide more support and regulations in their country, creating a more positive impact. The relevance of this project is relevant to the community, social, the streamlined potential for integration, as our company provides unique implementations of other company sectors, we can provide a unique and fresh perspective of how to help citizens of the Philippines, allowing us to be an example to future partners in other countries. Next, the social impact will be respected and affected positively, ensuring that citizens are being heard in such a category that has been in the dark. Filipino citizens will be prouder of their country as the locations they can migrate to will provide them a better physical status, positive impact, and provide others to want to do the same. Next is for the country, political realm, better migration policies, and lastly, the economy, increase incentive for OFW knowing that they are protected by the government. As word continues to spread, once we implant our resources, it will allow the economic rise of the Philippines as resources, adaptability, and more physical income, and more partnership will arise. Domestic workers will become increasingly larger, providing a higher economic status for the Philippines, possibly even letting other countries OFWs in exchange. Framework, the project could be used for other OFW issues in other countries.
For our action and closing statement, Saudi Arabia is a rich place, full of opportunities, but can be riddled with human rights violations and unethical treatment of its domestic workers. The proposed organization, A Free Life, aims to prevent, support, resolve these issues so that OFWs can continue sharing the Filipino culture, growing economy, providing the paradigm of social services to both citizens in the Philippines and in abroad. Millions of Filipinos are being unjustly imprisoned, sexually and physically abused, unlawfully underpaid. The number will keep on growing until something is done. Sometimes, all we need is a safe place, a familiar face and hope. A free life can do that. Thank you so much and have a good day, everyone.